Alright, now that I've had a few minutes to think it over, I think I will continue to talk about some of the things that I would have changed. You know, once you start, it's kind of hard to stop. Um, Let me see, what was it that I was thinking of earlier? Okay, the vaults, I think they're underused. The merchants, yeah, the vaults, the merchants, and the slaves. I always thought that was kind of strange that um, I always thought it was kind of strange that most of the stuff in the game is kind of underused, and all your decisions don't really change the world that you're in. You know what I mean? Like I think it would have been a little bit uh, much more interesting to have different options for completing different missions. Like say, I don't know, like Jason Bright's crew. I think it would have been interesting. I think it would have been a little more interesting if you could have instead of shooting them out into space, maybe you could have situated them in Bolt 34. You know what I mean? Similar thing for all the super mutants that were wandering around Black Mountain. It would have been interesting to situate them in a vault. The Great Khans. You know what I mean? Um, and after you situated them with a vault, it would have been interesting to see different vendors on the street, because seeing the same old Brahmin with the mercenary and what have you, it's kind of strange. Like they have all these robots and nobody uses them as vendors, and I thought that was kind of strange. Um Same thing with the super mutants. If some of them are peaceful, it would have been interesting to see them, one of them with a gigantic pack, uh, walking around, bartering and trading. You know what I mean? What else? After meeting the marked men, it would have been fairly interesting to see them were trying to get revenge on you for messing with them and messing around their area, and you would have seen something that almost looked like a vendor. The only thing is it's a group of marked men looking for you, and they got a death claw with a nuke strapped to his back, so they can stay irradiated. I that you know I thought that would have been kind of comical if that were to be one of your random encounters. You know what I'm saying? The slaves, it would have been interesting if you could have created an underground and freed a few of them one at a time. You know what I mean? Instead of just battling them out in battle arena, maybe you could get them to fake their death, or maybe you could buy them and set them free somewhere, or situate them in a vault. You know what I mean? It, just pretty much just to see more of the decisions you make actually have an effect on the world. You know what I'm saying? Uh, they could have put in sabotage missions and things like that. What else? They also could have put in some synthetic hero. They could have put in the synthetic people in there. That would have been interesting. Uh, Let me see what else. After doing Big Mountain, it would have been interesting to see lobotomites with collars attached to them, of course. Uh, so they don't run rogue and try to do anything hasty or whatever. But if they do get violent or whatever and start charging you, become aggressive, one of the think tanks floating brain people, they could have just pressed a button and boom, the bottomites no longer alive. You know what I mean? Just one of them, they could be traveling with a pack of three of them. You know what I mean? Just some, just alterations to the world. You know what I'm saying? Just stuff like that. Or seeing you know what I mean? Or seeing a super mutant carry a big gigantic backpack and not attack you, but he's actually a vendor. You know what I mean? Just it would have been very interesting to see the different choices that you made actually have a bit of an effect on the world that you're living in. You know, because that always struck me as kind of weak sauce that you know, or a missed opportunity. You know what I'm saying? What else was I thinking about in terms of improvements that they could have done to the game? Shoot, I had a big list, but don't worry, we'll have enough time. They'll come to me eventually. Whenever I think of them, I will. Oh yeah, it was about the cars thing, and you know, uh, I have to agree with most of the crowd about the cars. You know, having a car in the game would completely change everything. But if you use the car as like maybe a mobile workstation, like it would only travel by fast travel, you know, and you could never, you know what I mean? You wouldn't be able to use it in combat. You wouldn't be able to use it to run people over like say Grand Theft Auto. You know what I mean? You just wouldn't be able to be devious with it. You just use it as a mobile workstation / bed. You know, to only be used in fast travel. That would actually fix a lot of the issues, I think, that people are having with accepting cars in this universe. Because honestly, yeah, every time you use them to fast travel from one town to the next, it would cost you 100 energy cells or microfusion cells or any combination. You know what I mean? That would make sense. You know, so you wouldn't be using the car regularly. You would just use the car as a mobile workstation and a mobile bed, and that would be the end of it. The only vehicle I think that people would use regularly, if they could get it working again, I think would be the motorcycle. And, you know, just make sure that the motorcycle does not go fast. It just runs very, very, very slow. You know what I mean? So, you know, even if you were to try and use it to get out of a combat situation, it's just not happening. You know what I mean? I could definitely see that. You know what I mean? But the motorcycle is just, you know, just mostly a cosmetic thing. You know, it just wouldn't really change the way the game behaves at all. But a mobile workstation, on the other hand, that makes much more sense to have a mobile bed or whatever. That would be, you know, that would be very interesting. You know, have a mobile workbench, reloading bench, and a mobile hot plate. You know, I like that idea. I saw somebody use a mod like that in one of their playthroughs, and I thought, you know, that's actually not too bad an item to have. What was another improvement that I was thinking of? Yeah. Another improvement I was thinking of is the fast travel. To me, it just makes no sense to have to be able to fast travel everywhere. I think, you know, like if you got one of these things like a motorcycle or a car or a car or a truck or something like that, you know, then if you had the ability, then after that you unlock the ability to fast travel. You know, that would make sense to me. And plus, you know, you would need 100 microfusion cells to do it. You know what I mean? Or what would be another thing that you could use? You could use those heavy fusion batteries that don't seem to be useful for anything until you get DLC. Let me see, Ulysses Point. There you go. You know, that might work. Anyway, that's just me just thinking off the off the top of my head. Alright, now for the next section and the next mission. Here we go.